How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright?
Frankly, there's still a lot of gray areas.
Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area.
Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate.
I believe in you, sis.
Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice.
Yes?
A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they are suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that.
Miss Skye, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there's one decisive difference between you and her.
And that is?
You're not a defense attorney.
I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright.
My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's going to bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth, all by myself.
Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way.
The court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
I haven't been in court since Edward's trial. It's been a while now.
I hope that personal feelings will not be part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else.
Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. Your opening statement, please.
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office lot.
Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything.
However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime, a professional witness.
Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution calls its first witness, Miss Angel Starr, to the stand.
Haven't I seen you somewhere before?
You ordered the caviar lunch, right?
Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before.
The judge is really wolfing it down.
Ah, and for you, I have a Fiesta bowl.
Thanks?
Will the witness state her name and profession?
And you, sir, did you order the fingerprint lunchbox?
It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please.
Well, Your Honor, how does it taste?
So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty. It hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca.
What the heck does this pickled tapioca taste like?
Name, profession, now.
Me? The name is Angel Starr. Don't go forgetting it. I find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us.
The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating.
Hurry it up!
Well, that's good. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call on the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
What exactly does that mean?
Until 2 years ago, Miss Angel Starr was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective.
What? Miss Starr was a detective?
Aha! I know who you are. Cough up!
Cough up, Queen Angel Starr, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well. You may continue with the description, Miss Starr.
Just who is this lady?
If I might have the court's attention over here? The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain link divider separates the two blocks.
I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutors' spaces, yes?
The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with a knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor.
Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
It seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright?
I can't agree on principle, Your Honor.
It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, give them your worst, Miss Starr.
Wait, are they talking about me?
Somehow, I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective instincts working. Then, through a wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand, and then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching.
As you can see, there is no room for doubt.
The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed?
I'm still thinking about that.
It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Miss Starr, what makes you say that you knew a day like this would come?
I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy.
The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted.
Given that they're used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim. Killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that.
Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors?
I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one.
Laid off? So she was fired.
To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless.
This boyfriend you were delivering lunch to, he's the detective?
Oh, not that boyfriend. The security guard.
That boyfriend? You have several?
Yes. This boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend. Care to join? The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants.
I'll stick with lunch, thanks.
Note to self. The judge had to think before replying.
The security guard room is in A block. It's up on the second level so you can see everything from there.
That would be the room with the security sign. Incidentally, did you bring your lunch boxes by car?
Well, since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block.
So she was in B block when she witnessed the crime.
By garish car, you meant...
Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's, wasn't it?
Indeed it was.
What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you are sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no more than 30 feet away. I am certain it was her.
Witness! In your testimony,
you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than words. Ergo, you are a biased witness.
You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, Rookie.
Huh? Rookie?
Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside.
That was inspiring.
I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed.
A photograph! You took this?
The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap. I took a picture. In fact, what if my lunchbox is rigged with a camera?
I suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck.
This is my first time seeing this photograph.
You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again. My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Well, this most certainly is the defendant.
Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Skye! But where's the murder weapon?
Hold it! You say you witnessed this? You saw Miss Skye stab the victim with the knife.
As I've already said, yes. I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch.
I'm sure that is a fine lunch.
But isn't that odd? Look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took of the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Skye not holding a knife?
Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts?
Objection.
That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth.
Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This photo was clearly taken the moment after the stabbing.
Objection! How can you tell that?
Blood spatter.
Huh?
See the dark crimson stain on the chief prosecutor's coat?
It's a black and white photograph!
Ah, yes. It's hard to tell, but this could be blood.
Well, Mr. Wright, I see no problem here. No problem except you.
Wait! That contradicts what the witness said in her testimony. Namely, that she took the picture the moment she witnessed the crime.
Well, it seems I was slightly unclear. My apologies.
That's it?
If you run out of lunch, you order seconds. Problem solved. If you don't like it, try ordering the jumbo-sized lunch from the get-go.
Good advice. I'm not sure I understood it, but good advice.
I didn't have time to stop her. Prosecutor Skye was cold, calculating like a robot. She killed without pain or remorse. It was a premeditated murder.
Objection! Premeditated? How do you know?
Look at the chief prosecutor's hands in that photograph.
Are those gloves?
Surgical gloves made of thin rubber, most likely. Why would she have those on? If it was not premeditated, she would not be wearing those gloves!
What?
These gloves do seem to tell a tale of premeditation.
Premeditated murder. A serious offense. The murder was planned. The rubber gloves prove it.
Objection! Witness, do you know what this is?
Are you trying to test me? I sell lunch boxes for a living, you know. That's a knife. The knife. The knife that was in Mr. Edgeworth's trunk.
Indeed, it is my knife.
What's with this
Bloody
case?
murder weapon, a red car, all belonging to the prosecutor there?
The defendant is the chief prosecutor for the district, right?
Mommy, are prosecutors bad people?
The defense has a request. We ask that the witness provide an accurate testimony.
What's that, Rookie?
In your testimony, you stated Lana Skye planned this murder. And that's why she was wearing these special gloves.
Seems like a natural conclusion to me. The gloves do indicate planning.
However, why would she not also prepare the most important thing? The murder weapon. The knife just happened to be in the trunk of that car. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to plan a murder, you don't forget the weapon!
Order! Order! Order!
Great! Now the tide is turning in our favor.
Great show, Mr. Wright! My sister's as good as free!
Right, I believe the next lunch you will be eating is humble pie.
What?
I hope you weren't deluding yourself into thinking that the tide has turned. Not over such a trifling detail.
But this shoots a hole in the whole premeditated theory!
Bah, the prosecution could care less if it was premeditated or not. The only one who seems to care is that lunch lady over there. The defendant, Lana Skye, murdered a detective with a knife. That is the only thing the prosecution need prove. Nothing else.
Very good, Mr. Prosecutor. I suppose you think you're clever now, but you know as well as I do that she planned on killing him. It was planned. If it wasn't, why would she have been wearing those?
I believe I'd like to hear your testimony again.
Witness, please tell us only what you saw, not what you thought.
How dare you! My powers of deduction are not to be underestimated. Lana Skye intended to murder Detective Goodman. That's why she called the victim all the way to the prosecutor's office. I'm sure the chief prosecutor had a grudge against the victim. Nothing else could drive that human machine to plunge the knife in again and again.
Objection! You say she stabbed him again and again, but you couldn't have witnessed that.
Are you testing me? Then I'll test you. With my moss surprise!
I'm afraid the moss is growing under our feet as we wait, Miss Starr.
What?
What do you mean?
I shouldn't have to explain this, but take a look. The autopsy report states that death was due to a loss of blood from one stab wound.
Ha-ha! You're right. Good show, Mr. Edgeworth.
Ugh, what a hunk. He's my hero, really.
What about my objection? No one noticed?
Well, witness?
You got the crime scene set, right?
Thanks.
I always believed that no one could ever mistake ketchup for blood. But now I realize that such mistakes are possible.
So you're saying that you mistook something for blood?
When she lifted her knife, I thought I saw blood at her breast. Splattered blood from her victim. And that's why I thought she must have stabbed him at least twice.
Then tell us what you saw that you thought was blood. Testify.
Her red muffler looked like blood to me. That's how ghastly the whole scene was.
Objection! Miss Starr.
Objection! The witness is clearly not suited for detective work.
What?
The suspect was not wearing a scarf or muffler of any kind when she stabbed the victim. And you've proved it yourself with this photograph.
Huh? But that can't be.
Only a true professional could be so clueless. I'm sure you'll make a good lunch lady, have no fear.
Harsh words, but good.
In the end, Mr. Edgeworth prevails.
What was my objection? Chopped liver?
But it was there. A scarf. No, not that. But something red. Really.
Well now, where were we? The witness has given us an entertaining interlude. Now back to business.
What?
Very well, witness. Continue your testimony. You saw the crime and apprehended the suspect. Tell us about that.
Very well. I do remember some things accurately, at least.
Ultimately, we couldn't shake the most important part of her testimony.
The most important part?
The part where your sister stabs the victim. This next testimony might just be the moment of truth.
After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side. I quickly caught her, explaining her rights to her, and arrested her on the spot. Ah, yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler. That's what had me so confused in my earlier testimony. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Starr, resistance is futile.
You are quite determined about this scarf, aren't you?
I strike like a snake and bite like a cobra. That's me, Angel Starr.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake.
Don't bother me with details unless you want to get bitten.
No, thanks.
Note to self. Attorney Wright gets bitten by snake.
The chief prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain. She knocked my hands aside, kicked over an oil drum. She's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Rawr!
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
So where is this partition you mentioned on the floor plans?
I'm sure she means this wall next to the car.
That's right. There was a wall there. About 6 feet high.
She was obviously trying to hide herself. Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do.
And you say you caught her quickly. Were you close to the suspect?
As I just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
I'd like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. The Lunchland car was where, exactly?
She was a visitor. Thus, she was parked in B block.
So you witnessed the murder from here?
That would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes.
Is that correct, Miss Starr?
Yes, that's right.
But there was a chain link fence in front of you?
Well, I went over it, of course.
Amazing! The cough-up queen lunch lady athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the fence, so she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast.
Yeah, that fence was about 9 feet high, too. How come Miss Skye didn't get away?
She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say?
If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony.
Cheeky.
Anyway, all I heard her say was the word muffler.
Just that one word?
So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but someone else?
Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone.
By phone, do you mean this cell phone, discovered at the scene of the crime?
Yes, ultimately.
Ultimately?
My memory... it's like a salmon heading upstream, you see.
No, the court doesn't see, Miss Starr.
The chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall.
That's right, near the car. There was an emergency phone on the wall.
Apparently it was out of order.
And so she used her cell phone.
Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day.
Good witnessing, witness.
Good witnessing? Whatever happened to good testifying?
So you see? She gave up trying to use the phone on the wall and then just used her cell phone.
Objection! I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Skye. Objection!
The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias.
Well, who would have thought that you would be my knight in shining armor, prosecutor? You who, together with the chief prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Well, Miss Starr, this is a fatal contradiction with your testimony. How do you explain this?
I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, and I'll make you cough it all up.
Let's look at the floor plans. You said you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, you couldn't possibly have seen Miss Skye making that phone call. I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. if indeed you were in B block, you couldn't have seen it!
What?
Order! Order! What is the meaning of this?
It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies.
Objection!
That's quite a claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question? Tell us exactly what lie this witness has told the court.
Here's where the counterattack begins. Miss Skye tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is the significance about this fact? Nothing. It would be pointless for her to lie about it.
Pointless to lie. I see.
The witness did actually see Miss Skye using the emergency phone. In other words, Miss Starr witnessed the crime from a different location.
Objection!
A different location. Now that's a pointless lie if I ever heard one.
Objection! Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it.
Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith. Mr. Wright, just where was the witness when she saw the crime?
The place where Miss Starr witnessed this crime was here. This is the only place she could have been.
The security guard room?
Indeed. The security room in the underground parking lot is well positioned. It's built on the second level so you can see the entire lot.
She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why there? There are so many other places where she could have seen the phone.
Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being a part of the prosecutor's office, couldn't park in A block. The only place she could have seen the crime and the back of the partition is here. I remember in your testimony, you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Starr?
How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could be turned. Today, a man has got the better of Angel Starr.
Order! Order! Witness, what have you done? You used to be a detective. You should know better.
I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I'll do what I must to make sure justice prevails.
The guilty? Is she talking about Miss Skye?
Mr. Wright? Doesn't this strike you as odd? Why did Miss Starr lie? It doesn't make sense. She could have just said she saw the crime from the security guard station. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. That truth still stands.
Objection! It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth.
What?
If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So, tell us what her reason was, Mr. Wright.
Huh? Me?
Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know.
Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station, but she lied and said she saw it from B block. It must make a vital difference. But what? What would change?
It changes the distance between her and the scene of the crime.
Objection!
My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans and it's quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what she could see.
What she saw is not in question here. What matters is the time it would take for her to reach the scene of the crime. Miss Starr, you witnessed the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take you to go from there to the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Skye?
Well, witness?
You.
Yes?
You order the squid wheels, right?
The quality of my lunches has gone from low to inedible.
I was bringing a PB&J lunch with fresh boysenberry jam to my boyfriend.
Boysenberry for the boyfriend.
He wasn't in the station, so I waited. I witnessed the crime from the glass-walled station, and before I knew what I was doing, I found myself running towards the scene. But the door was locked. I couldn't open it. That's why I had to go through the visitors' parking in B block.
That's quite a detour.
It probably took me at least 5 minutes to get to the scene of the crime.
5 minutes? This changes things considerably.
But it was the woman over there in the defendant's chair who stabbed him. I know it. I have photographic evidence. I swear it. I swear it on my finest plastic spork.
You have a point, and the spork is a wonderful invention.
Would you like another caviar lunch?
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something!
Objection! 5 minutes between the witnessing of the murder and the arrest? Think about it! You could make pasta in that amount of time if you like it al dente.
I've got lunch boxes that tie pasta into knots, rookie.
But a 5-minute blank. Isn't that strange?
Strange how?
If you were a criminal, what would you do with 5 minutes, Your Honor?
Well, I'd guess I'd flee the scene. Hey! Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't kill anyone.
But you have the instincts of a killer. You would run. But this time was different. Miss Skye dawdled at the scene of the crime. She even had her picture taken. No true criminal would act this way. It's inconceivable.
Well then, it seems we've come to the end of this testimony. She has a grudge against the defendant, and there's a blank in her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, is the next witness ready to go?
Unfortunately, I appear to have overestimated this witness on account of her professional history.
We did it! We screwed that can shut, Mr. Wright.
That was too close.
I'm afraid that the cough-up queen has been dethroned. And with that, court is adjourned.
Hold it! Mr. Edgeworth, you ordered the squid wheels, right?
That's the one she tried to foist off on me!
I prefer not to take the defense team's leftovers. Anything else to say?
I might be able to save you. I have decisive evidence.
Is this another one of her trick lunchboxes?
My apologies, but we have no further questions to ask of you, Miss Starr.
Ah. Is this your jumbo lunchbox?
A triple-decker! Out of deference to the witness's determination, I'll allow one more testimony. Let's hear about this decisive evidence.
Like the Lunchland motto says, you won't be disappointed.
What's she going to pull out of her lunchbox this time?
I should have mentioned those 5 minutes when I wasn't looking at the crime scene. And now, to the matter of the victim's shoe. Did I not bring this up? 2 types of blood were found on this shoe. One was, of course, the victim's, and the other was the defendant, Miss Lana Skye's blood. This shoe proves it. It's flawless, decisive evidence.
What? There was blood found on that shoe?
Mr. Wright, there's blood on the bottom, too.
On the sole of the shoe. It's got to be the victim's. He must have stepped in a puddle of his own blood.
Try Lunchland for all your lunch and decisive evidence needs.
Objection! Witness, what's the meaning of this? Why is this the first time I've heard of this evidence?
Simple. As I've already said, I don't trust you with evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. That's why I took the liberty of investigating this myself.
And you had blood tests performed?
Didn't I mention? I have 3 boyfriends in forensics.
In any case, Your Honor, I can't accept this as evidence.
What?
You should know the 2 rules of evidence law, Miss Starr. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. In other words, this shoe is illegal evidence, at least for the time being.
Is that right, Mr. Wright?
It seems so. Edgeworth sure is celebrating.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. Don't forget, I used to be a detective. As I mentioned previously, this shoe has already been tested by a member of the forensics department. As you can see, it was approved by the police department as of today. Even the general public can produce official evidence, Mr. Edgeworth.
The prosecution's complaints notwithstanding, it appears that this evidence satisfies the first rule of evidence law. It seems you have yet another count against you, witness.
Anything to ensure that the guilty are properly judged.
Hold it! I can't let this evidence go through without a fight!
You ordered the peppered fish guts, right? Some like it hot, Mr. Wright. Some like your client. She's in enough hot water to make a whole batch of soup.
If I'm not imagining things, I'd say there is one critical problem with this evidence. A clear contradiction.
That gleam in your eyes. You're still young, rookie. I'd give you a peppered fish gut now. But you couldn't take the heat, could you?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What is contradictory about the victim's shoe?
I wonder if you noticed that there's blood on the bottom of this shoe.
Don't mess with me, rookie, or it'll be your blood at the bottom of my shoe.
There is quite a bit of blood on the bottom of the shoe.
It makes sense. The victim was stabbed with a knife. What could possibly be contradictory about blood on the bottom of his shoe?
The problem lies in the footprint.
The footprint?
Note that the bottom of the victim's shoe is covered in blood. Then, isn't it strange? Why weren't any bloody footprints found by the scene of the crime? As you can see, there were no traces of any such footprints at the scene of the crime. That contradicts your claim about this shoe.
Objection!
This picture only shows part of the floor.
So there could have been bloody footprints.
Objection! If there were bloody prints, they would have been found. We checked the scene and found nothing of the sort.
Order! Well, witness?
What? Huh,
Great going, Mr. Wright. But it's true that the lack of a footprint is a contradiction. But then we have to ask why there wasn't a footprint.
That's true. There has to be a reason why there wasn't a footprint.
Think, Mr. Wright, think!
Hey, I don't know why it's not there. I'm just good at finding contradictions.
What?
Hold it!
I see. Now I get it.
Get what?
Our witness is more devious than I gave her credit for. We were hoodwinked to the very end. But she slipped. There is one vital hint to the truth in her testimony.
What are you talking about?
Think back to when she told us about apprehending the suspect. I thought it was strange for the normally cool-headed chief to be so resistant, and to go so far as to knock over one of the oil drums. Now, witness, allow me to ask a very simple question about this oil drum. Was it empty?
Oh, that. I'm not sure I like your attitude, Mr. Edgeworth. Though apparently you're not the slowest conveyor belt in the lunchbox factory.
Witness, was the oil drum empty?
The oil drum kicked over by the chief prosecutor was brimming with water.
Water? What does that mean?
Still don't get it, Mr. Wright. Do you want to know the reason she knocked it over? The real reason?
You don't mean...
Yes, the suspect knocked over that oil drum for one reason and one reason alone. To erase the bloodstains that would become evidence against her.
That ties things up quite nicely. The bloodstains left on the victim's shoes tie her quite clearly to this murder. Then, after the deed was done, she knocked over the oil drum to erase the telltale signs.
Why, that's a prosecutor's specialty. Erasing evidence.
That reminds me, Miss Skye's right hand was hurt. Didn't she say she cut herself when she stabbed him?
So my sister's blood on the shoe. That's when it happened?
Well, I see no reason to prolong this trial.
Mr. Wright, do something, please.
What? What can I do? Your sister has confessed to the crime, and she tried to conceal it.
Enough. There is no reason for further debate. The verdict, Your Honor.
Very well.
The Angel Starr is on the prosecution side. She could have been lying about the water.
This court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
Hold it! Little girl, what did you just say?
Huh? Me?
Did you just say that I, Angel Starr, was on the prosecution side?
Well, yeah, you are. You're saying my sister hid evidence by erasing the bloody footprints.
Well, I thought you'd had your fill, but here you are, demanding a second helping. Another lunchbox. A lunchbox called evidence.
Wait, witness, don't tell me you have something else.
Objection! You've reached your verdict, Your Honor. Any further comments will be held in contempt of court.
Your threats don't scare the Cough-Up Queen. Look at this.
A photograph?
I had this just in case anyone had the gall to suggest that the white shoe didn't belong to the victim.
I see no room for error in this evidence.
Mr. Wright, wait! Look at the asphalt in this photo.
It's clearly wet!
Erasing the last trace of doubt from the court's mind, immediately after the murder, the crime scene was washed with water.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I guess I couldn't help after all.
It's not your fault. I knew I couldn't win this case from the beginning, and it seems this is what your sister wanted anyway. I'm sorry, Mia.
Right. Wet or not, don't be so quick to throw in the towel. Get yourself up off the asphalt. Take another good look. Don't give up. Not until the bitter end.
This is the last piece of evidence. My last chance to turn things around.
Very well. This time I'd like to declare a verdict for good.
Objection! Your Honor, wait!
What is it with you people? Can't I hand down my verdicts in peace anymore? Whatever it is, can it wait?
No, we can't. Then it will be too late. Look at this photograph. The last one submitted. This trial isn't over until we give each piece of evidence proper consideration.
So, Wright, are you saying there's a problem with this latest piece of evidence?
Yeah, there's a problem. I'll think later. Right or wrong, I've got to go ahead with this.
I suppose, since we've come this far, we should give every claim a fair shake. Very well, Mr. Wright. Show the court the problem in this photograph.
The problem with this photograph is...
Wait, the heck is that?
The problem with this photograph is here.
What's that? There's something poking out of the car's muffler.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Edgeworth.
Your Honor?
You just said muffler. However, I see no trace of a muffler or scarf of any kind in this photograph.
A muffler is also a part on a car or motorcycle, Your Honor. Just think of it as part of the exhaust system, a pipe.
I see. And I see. What's that suspicious-looking cloth sticking out of the car's muffler?
Huh. So what if there is something sticking out of the muffler? What does that have to do with this case? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Objection! Sorry, Miss Starr, but it's not going to be that easy. In fact, you've already told us why this is important to the case. You said as much in your testimony.
What?
Let's hear what Mr. Wright has on his mind. Tell us why you think this piece of cloth in the muffler is related to this case.
Miss Starr, recall your testimony for the court. Could it be that the muffler you heard mentioned was actually this exhaust pipe? If so, that means this piece of cloth is vital evidence!
Oh.
Well, it seems we will have to suspend proceedings.
Suspend?
I find myself wondering about that piece of cloth. If we leave any question unanswered here, we do a disservice to the law. Have the car at the crime scene inspected at once, and bring me that cloth. The verdict will wait until after we've seen the evidence. Agreed?
I suppose so.
That was close, but we made it. At least for now.
The court will adjourn for a 30-minute recess. It's lunchtime, after all.
He's still hungry?